Baseball fans, you're watching On Deck with Tyler Redmond.
This is a problem I really think that's across Major League Baseball, and not very many people are going to say it because I think you run the risk when you say this of being criticized, and I'm okay with that. Feel free to criticize my point of view. I don't care. But you cannot convince me that after last night, the idea of a layoff is real. The idea of a layoff not benefiting the team that it is supposed to benefit is real. Because, again, it's across the board. When you look at the teams that were seeded higher than Wildcard, when you look at the teams that were seeded to start playing in the NLDS, the Braves, the Dodgers, Baltimore Orioles, those teams, when you look at them, all of them, and the Astros, all of them suffered from the layoff. 3 of them lost game 1. I think 3 of them didn't even score a run in game 1. The only one that did win was the Astros, and I would venture to say that the only reason they won is because of one player, and that is Yordan Alvarez, who's had a great season, had a great postseason so far. But I don't think the layoff is as intended. And I have to bring up the elephant in the room, Trevor Bauer, who basically, I know he's not in baseball right now. I'm not getting into any of the personal stuff. But if you don't remember this, he came out when that first came out and said the layoff is going to hurt the teams that it is supposed to help by this logic. And so far, I got to be honest, I agree with him. I mean, if there's one guy that knows, it's the guy that pitches every 5th day. Baseball players are routine players, and I don't think that the layoff is working as intended. Now, the problem with it, and it's a legit problem, is because it puts Major League Baseball in a bit of a bind. Because yes, you're hurting the teams that you're meant to help by giving them this extra layoff. Keep in mind, the layoff is longer than the All-Star break, and baseball players are some of the most routine athletes in sports. And I think they're trying too much to model other sports, because in games like basketball, in games like football, time off does help. It helps you recover. It helps you a number of things, right? In baseball, it really diminishes, because as put out there today by a number of former players, I think there's a number of reasons why it doesn't help. Because for pitchers, I think it might have affected Max Fried. Because for pitchers, they lose their release point. They lose, yes, their arms great, ready to go after such a long break, but their reps are not there, right? And the Braves try to respond to that by doing the postseason workouts. But guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I was there for game 1 of the postseason workouts. The bats weren't there. I mean, a couple of them hit homers, but the bats altogether really weren't there. And it's different when you're competing against your own players. I get all of that. But it's not a knock on any of the players. It's just the situation they're being put in. I don't think it benefits the teams that it is supposed to benefit. And, I'm not the only one that feels that way. I think, if you look across Major League Baseball, there's a lot of people that are finally coming out and saying this, because we've seen 2 years of this, and it's happened 2 years in a row. The Phillies are a great October team. I just don't think that them coming right out of the gate, just faced the Marlins, still full into the season mode, facing a team like the Braves, who not only had the week off, but didn't play any competitive baseball really need to win baseball for, a month before that? I mean, you add on a week off, I just don't think it benefits. Now, I say all of that knowing that if a Phillies fan is in here watching, they're going to say that it's excuses. They're going to say that it's this or it's that. I don't care. My point is, I don't think on a large scale it is benefiting the teams it is intended to benefit. And that, I think, is a problem. And I hope it gets addressed. But the bind Major League Baseball is in is that they now have 3 wild card games that they get to put commercials on, get money from, get ticket sales from, get all of that, get interest from. And I'm good for all that. I'm glad that there's more of a wild card series than one game, because I don't think one game represents who's the better team. But I also saw the wild card series not have a single third game among all the series that were in it. So I don't know how much it's benefiting the game. As Leo Mazzoni said, I don't think that some of those teams belong in that spot. Some of them do, some of them belong, but we're already seeing some of those teams don't compete with the teams that are intended to be in the playoffs. Now, I'm not to tell you that I think the playoffs need to be limited to 8 teams or whatever the case may be. I don't care about any of that. What I'm saying is they've got to find a way to limit the time that these other teams, the Dodgers, the Braves, the Orioles, the Astros, they got to limit the amount of time that those teams are having to wait to play. They have to. If you want to have 3 games, make them a doubleheader and then one the next day. Try to limit it. But Major League Baseball is not going to want to do that because, again, you're going to remove commercial revenue. You're going to remove ticket sales. You're going to remove, whatever the case may be. It doesn't matter. The important thing is there is money in their pockets. And as long as that's the case, this will be the case. Now, does that mean that the Braves shouldn't try to win 100 games and get the extra up in seeding? I don't know. But what I do know is that this is a problem, and I think it's only going to continue at the rate we're going.
Baseball fans, make sure you like and share this video and subscribe to this channel. As always, thank you for your support.